Hello, my name is Jax Kelly, and I'm the president of Let's Kick Ass Palm Springs, AIDS Survivor Syndrome. This presentation is being made in honor of National HIV, AIDS, and Aging Awareness Day, September 18th, 2022. HIV long-term survivor and San Francisco-based advocate, Teds Anderson, founded the first Let's Kick Ass chapter in 2013 and coined the term AIDS Survivor Syndrome to describe the psychological effects of having lived through the AIDS plague years of the 1980s and 1990s before antiretroviral medications made HIV a largely chronic condition and dramatically decreased the number of deaths caused by HIV. Formed as a club in 2015, Lkaps became a 501c3 nonprofit organization in 2018. Its mission has always been to help people reduce the isolation and stress of living with AIDS survivor syndrome. Our tagline of social connection, HIV and aging, education, and advocacy describes the activities that Lkaps is engaged in. In May 2019, I was elected by the board to succeed our founding president, Eric Jahnke. I was chosen largely because of my extensive experience in HIV organizations since 1991 and my appointment to the board of the Upper Room AIDS Ministry in Harlem, New York, and because of my fundraising efforts to make Lkaps a certified nonprofit. I'm a Black gay man who was diagnosed with HIV/AIDS in 2006 when I learned I had PCP pneumonia and 44 T cells. After my diagnosis, I used my background in law and finance. I have a JD from Fordham University and an MBA from NYU. As a volunteer to immerse myself in all aspects of the HIV community, from being a HIV testing counselor, a certified emotional support group leader, commissioner for the Los Angeles County HIV Commission, planning and priorities, operations, and consumer committees, and a leader of the HIV and Aging and executive committees of the California Planning Group, which is the community advisory board to the California Office of AIDS. Currently, I have roles on the national level at NMAC and its HIV 50+ Strong and Healthy program, and the Reunion Project. This summer, I completed my studies at the Keck School of Medicine of USC in its online Master of Public Health program in Health Services and Advocacy, and will be presenting results of my research project in Cleveland, Ohio on community mobilization for HIV and aging at the US Conference on HIV/AIDS, USCHA, next month in Puerto Rico. Over time, I learned that while HIV and aging should exist as its own subject, there is no singular office on a local, state, or national level that addresses the issue. Instead, it is siloed into groups that focus on HIV and only recently being addressed by groups that focus on aging. Why do groups like Lkaps have to work across silos? Probably because people living with HIV weren't supposed to age. There still is no cure for HIV, but back in the plague years, no one was supposed to survive HIV more than a few years before their death. Before HIV became a chronic condition, people living with HIV did not save for retirement, could not invest in life insurance policies, and often quit jobs and shortened careers because time was short. Imagine the dilemma of people who did not plan for a future, only to find out that medications could give them a future. While data showed years ago that there would be a wave of adults aging with HIV, not unlike the wave of baby boomers aging into the Social Security system, federal and state agencies have been slow to respond. Research into health and medication issues for people aging with HIV have also been slow to start and often underfunded. In 2021, California passed the HIV and Aging Act, sponsored by State Senator John Laird. It was an amendment to California's version of the federal Older Americans Act of 1965 and directs the California Department of Aging to include people aging with HIV among those of greatest social need. To make this new law impactful, the Department of Aging will have to get data from the Department of Health and its Office of AIDS to measure the population of people aging with HIV in the state. The area agencies on aging will have to monitor the number of people living with HIV that are beneficiaries of its programs. And their local chapters will have to assess the needs of people living with HIV. Lkaps could be instrumental in this process with appropriate resources. So Lkaps has straddled the silos and created a vision where people aging with HIV are given opportunities to grow without stigma. But we need funding, whether they come from HIV or aging resources. HIV resources can't point to aging and say, it's your job, or vice versa. In California, Operation Cornerstone is an HIV and aging demonstration project where the Department of Health is engaging with the Department of Aging to create a comprehensive program of medical care for people aging with HIV. But where is the demonstration project to support an organization like Lkaps? Lkaps is an all-volunteer organization without a brick and mortar operation. Our board of directors meet monthly via Zoom. Our social activities meet in public venues or in the homes of volunteers. We have seen other providers offer programs similar to ours, only to see them merged into programs for general populations. Where do we get our members? Our mailing list reaches over 400 people living with HIV in the greater Palm Springs area. New members come from the estimated 10,000 people living with HIV in our region and the migration of retirees to our desert community. To create social connections, we hold events and recently added discussion groups. Our events include coffees held twice a month and monthly pizza and bowling nights. Special events include our upcoming bus trip to Idlewild Pride on October 1st that is sponsored by Pharma. Past special events have included a Zoom meeting to celebrate Women and Girls HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, a virtual town hall featuring the Reunion Project, and participation in the local annual AIDS walks. Board member Tim Hofgen led the fundraising effort to create memorials for his late partner, Timothy Ray Brown, at the AIDS Memorial Grove in San Francisco and the Wellness Park in Palm Springs. Timothy Ray Brown is best known for being the Berlin patient and the first person cured of HIV. A member of Lkaps, Timothy Ray Brown passed away in September 2020 from a recurrence of leukemia that prompted his historic treatment. Last year, we started the Lkaps Roundtable, a weekly drop-in discussion group that has a schedule of pre-announced discussion topics and meets virtually on Tuesday and in person on Friday. The Roundtable Zoom meetings have also been an opportunity to extend invitations to medical personnel, advocates, authors, and community leaders to speak about topics of interest. Our social committee has 2 co-chairs that hold monthly meetings, and the Roundtable has a group of 7 facilitators who set the agenda for the discussion meetings. HIV and aging education and advocacy is largely done through social media via Facebook and in the Lkaps monthly newsletter. Whether it's innovations in HIV treatment and care, COVID, or the new MPX, Lkaps keeps the community informed. Our collaborations with local community organizations like the HIV and Aging Research Project, Palm Springs, DAP Health, Brothers of the Desert, and others has provided opportunities for Lkaps members to access multiple sources of information. Lkaps has also been the recipient of grants from organizations like REEF, the Richard Emmert Aid Foundation, Pharma, ViiV, and NMAC to create programs and fund events. Thanks to small dollar fundraising through Facebook and AIDS Walk, and our generous donor base of the board, Lkaps members, and the broader community, we have grown our financial resources considerably. In part because our in-person activities went from in-person to Zoom during the height of the COVID pandemic, but also because interest in Lkaps from our donor base increased. At our last board retreat, we identified strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to Lkaps. We recently achieved one of our opportunities by creating an opt-in directory for our members. While we have garnered new members, more outreach needs to be done to diversify the membership along age, race, and gender parameters. Perhaps we could do more with a paid staff and a budget for an office and meeting space. It would be helpful to find a government or non-government organization, angel, to help Lkaps build this capacity. Thank you for your interest in Lkaps. Please contact me if you have any questions or opportunities you would like to present to us. My contact information is on the screen.